I think the front end of this car looks very phenomenal. Just the headlights, they look like they actually were implemented into the front grille. It's so unique. Like, what car actually has headlights like this, especially in a Hyundai? For this price range, it's pretty cool. Now, also with like the way they have the aggressive body lines here with the front bumper. But now let's go and take a look at the silhouette. It has such aggressive body lines. Like, we have such a sharp edge right here, cutting in, and then almost making like this V shape with it. I think it looks super good. And I think on an SUV, having this plastic cladding here does look good. Maybe on a sedan like the new Subaru WRX, I don't think it looks necessarily the best, but I think on an SUV, it almost gives it a more rugged appearance, which I think this car definitely has. And something to note that's really cool is you see this almost like V shape here. It's actually followed into the wheels as well. So they have kind of these V designs into them. Looks super good, and I'm a huge fan of them. I think for a car like this, it definitely does look good. Back at it with like these really nice designs. So I used to not be a fan of chrome, but I think the way they're doing it now with these Hyundais is actually really cool. It almost makes the car look better by having it. I think it's a nice accent, a nice touch. So it's like this satin chrome here. I think it's just a nice bit, right? It's not like this even, like having this thin strip. It actually kind of tapers out and becomes a little bit thicker, and then also has like these nice lines in it. And I think it does look really good, and it just kind of adds a little nice touch to the car. And something to note, I'm just noticing these newer cars, like they just have really big gas caps. Like, it's kind of weird, but let's look at the rear of this car. So it's really cool. One thing I want to point out immediately is it just kind of shocks me that, or not shocks me, but it definitely stands out, is seeing how the Hyundai logo is like implemented into the rear window. I've never actually seen that done before. I think it looks super cool, and it almost kind of gives it a higher quality appearance. And then looking at the taillights, this is super unique. It's got these really aggressive lines right here, like these almost like V-shape, like these cut-ins. Looks super good. And then we got more of that black plastic there. So now for the interior on this car, let's start with the trunk. It actually holds a pretty decent amount of space, considering that the car really itself isn't that big. But let's go and check out the back seat. So it actually, it's nice because it fits what you need, although these SUVs are interesting because they're almost like lifted sedans in terms of like their actual storage on the inside. It's got enough, you know, if you got 4 people you need to drive around, it's definitely plenty. And then for the front of the car, I love just the quality on this car, because it seems like you've got just so much like little details that we didn't used to have. So like the stock here has like this nice design on it, and it's like, I personally like gloss black. I think it looks good. It depends, you know, per person, right? But you've got silver trim here along the car, silver door handles, along with like leather everywhere. I mean, it really does feel pretty premium, and you know, these cars didn't typically feel like this, you know, Hyundais in general. And then you've also have like this cloth, like this really soft touch cloth up here. Interesting that we have that design going on with the car. I think it does look good. And then also the steering wheel, what's really interesting is when you hold it, your thumbs kind of just naturally fall into place here, and it actually is a very nice feeling steering wheel, and I do like it a lot. And then also the digital display, it's literally just almost like an iPad screen right there. It's actually really interesting. I think it's cool. I still do like my older analog type of displays, but you know, the new ones are pretty cool. They can, you know, show a lot of stuff on there. Your shifter here has like a nice leather wrapping on it. So overall, a very premium interior. Even though this one's got cloth interior, I think it definitely looks good, feels good. And the main thing is nothing really feels like it rattles around here. Like with this car, it feels a lot like a sedan, which I really like. The number one thing I like about this car in terms of driving it and interior quality is that you'd be surprised, a lot of new cars don't have the best quality, and they rattle, and they're just crazy. And it's just kind of like unenjoyable, right? If you hear a bunch of rattles, you hear a bunch of sounds, it's just not fun. Like, you want to be able to drive the car and not have rattles, and just want the car to feel sturdy and like it's actually meant to be, you know, a new car, because a lot of new cars are not as good as you would expect. Like, you think it's a new car, it should feel really good and sturdy, but a lot of cars are not like that. But I like that this car, for the price range, and especially for being a Hyundai, they weren't always like that. Like, Hyundais used to feel a little bit plasticky on the inside. Just wasn't the nicest, but now this car feels refined. It feels like it's got good quality leather, good quality plastics in here, so nothing rattles, nothing creaks. It's just a really nice overall interior.